Time for another coffee with Kilroy, or what I many times call beverage in a book. I have my beverage here. In fact, I'm halfway through this cup, and I hope you are enjoying a beverage of your liking. Today, the book is 100 Decisive Battles from Ancient Times to the Present, the World's Major Battles and How They Shaped History, Paul K. Davis. And I introduced this book earlier when I talked about 20 decisive battles of the world. This originally started off as the Decisive Battles of the World by Sir Edward Creasy, and it had 15 battles, and then it was updated by Lieutenant Colonel Joseph B. Mitchell to have 20 battles, and this kind of got me started on my journey of looking at what are the most decisive battles or influential battles or substantive battles or major battles, as this calls it, in the world. And so I started collecting in world history, and I started collecting a lot of battle books, which are basically just high-level survey type books of, looking at all different battles and kind of giving you a glimpse of what they were about, who the combatants are, what the context was, leaders, casualties, and then, having their own take on why they are important. This one had its own take on what was decisive, and this one has its take on what is decisive as well. So I thought I'd give this one a little bit of its own special treatment as I kind of briefly talk about it while sipping some coffee. And thank you for joining me on this journey. So let's take a look at the back of the book here. And I'm not going to read every entry because this is a relatively substantial book, but it's one of those kind of reference books that I like to turn to whenever I'm, especially, this is a war game channel, right? Predominantly. And so whenever I start a new war game or pick up a battle or start something that dealing with a campaign, looking at the battles, I tend to pick up books like this and say, all right, what was that battle about? Let's just read a little bit about it and find out what was going on, and gives me some context as I, get into the rules and get into the gameplay. But, that's me. Your mileage may vary. So, an extraordinary presentation of 100 key battles from the ancient times to the present. So, we've already got three different terms here. We have decisive, we have major, and we have key. So, everybody has their own terminology on what they think is important. Really small print here, so let's get a little closer. From the ancient Egyptian battle at Megiddo in 1469 BC to the recent military actions in Iraq, you can tell when this was published. Great battles have had an enormous impact on the shaping of history. Now, in this fully illustrated book, 100 of the world's most important military confrontations are described in detail. 100 Decisive Battles gives us the facts about each battle and explains where it fits in the scope of world history. In each entry, we are given a name and a date of the battle, the commander, the size of the opposing forces and casualties, an account of the battle plan, and the military action are strategically discussed. And each description closes with the valuable consideration of how history was affected by the outcome of the conflict. Among the battles presented are the Battle of Thymbra, 546 BC, the Battle of Chalons, 45 AD, the Battle of Cajamarca, 1532, the Battle of Dien, 1954, and the Tet Offensive, 1968. Accompanying maps and sidebars help further orient us to each military action. Global in scope, with excellent coverage of American, Central America, European, Asian, and Middle Eastern battles, and with its stirring accounts of familiar battles and many lesser-known military conflicts, 100 Decisive Battles is essential reading for the military buffs and anyone interested in how the modern world came to be. Paul K. Davis is a lecturer at St. Mary's University in San Antonio. Oh, there, got that there. All right, so let's take a look here. Get me another sip of coffee. And do a quick perusing of what we have in store for us here. So the copyright on this was 1999, so that gives you some idea of when this cuts off as the Decisive Battles. Here are the 100 Decisive Battles, and these are the ones that these are the 100, and these are covered. Let's go a little bit closer in here. These are covered in chronological order here, and so you've got Megiddo down to Desert Storm in 1991, right there. So this gives you an idea of some of the things that are going to be covered here. So, your battle might have not made the list, your favorite battle, but I mean, this is Mr. Davis's analysis of what was important or what was decisive or how did it affect the future, the history that would take place after that battle. So you got Waterloo in here. So you got some of the ones that we are very, very familiar with. Oh, I didn't pick out the Waterloo. There's Waterloo at the bottom of the page. Got it a little bit closer because it's kind of hard to see with the shading and what have you. Let's get a little closer right there. It's got your preface, and so here's some of the criteria. Here, the criteria for including a battle as decisive are defined as including any or all of the following. The outcome of the battle brought major political or social change. Had the outcome of the battle been reversed, major political or social change would have ensued. The battle makes an introduction of a major change in warfare. Andropol in 3078 was such a battle. Before the battle, the infantry in the general Roman army, infantry in particular, had dominated warfare. In this battle, the Goths' victory introduced cavalry as a dominant weapon for the succeeding 1,000 years. Okay, so his three things are the outcome brought social or political change. If you reverse it, there would have been political or social change, or the battle brought in some new technology. So those are his key criteria right there for going on here. So we got Megiddo, and here's an example of kind of how these are laid out. I'm just getting a lot of glare here. So you've got your forces engaged. You've got your commander. You got forces engaged and approximate number if they have it. Some of these earlier ancient battles, our data is not as accurate or attainable. You've got the commander. You have, so of each of the forces, and then you have importance. By reestablishing Egyptian dominance in Palestine, Thermos began a reign in Egypt which reached its greatest expanse as an empire. So that's the importance of this. Then you got your historical setting, so you got a little bit of writing on the battle itself. Sometimes you have maps. I don't know if there's a map for every single one, but a lot of times there are. Then you have the setup or the context, and you have the battle itself, and then the results. So, and then you got a little bit more, some of these insets like Megiddo and histories. This is, again, in the Bible, so to speak. And so a lot of, you have some, not every section has this little inset, but you have some inset, historical inset. So, all told, I mean, this is, although it's just introductory to this battle, this gives you quite a bit of information. You got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pages, just a tad bit over, about right at 5 pages of information on that battle. And so each one of these is not necessarily 5 pages. Some are less, some are more, but you get into the gist of what, that this is kind of a nice reference of the most decisive battles. And you might not agree with why the battles were important or agree what his 100 are. I mean, I've been working on my own 100 for years now, but it is interesting read nonetheless. So here's marathons going on for a little bit more than 5 pages. Here's Salamis. We all know what that one is. So, well, maybe we don't. So you pick this up and you can read about it and find out a little bit more about it. Syracuse. And so these are laid out in chronological order. But as you can see here, lot of battles covered. So for each one of these battles, you're going to have anywhere from, I don't know, 4 to 8 or 10 pages, and you get all the summary information right up here. The historical setting, it gives you the context. The battle itself gives you, why you came here, right? To find out a little bit more about this battle. And then you get the results. So, I don't know. I like these books. And he did a sequel to this. Spoiler alert, I'll probably be covering that in a later Coffee with Kilroy, 100 sieges, great sieges. And so, which is all focused on, can you guess? Sieges. So anyway, so this is, I don't know. I like these kind of books. They don't get too in depth, or, if you're looking for the definitive history of that battle, these are not the kind of books that will give that. However, I find these as a good starting point. It's kind of like a Wikipedia, right? But with a scholar behind the entry, as opposed to you or me entering the stuff in here. So here's Alesia, very interesting battle. The Fighting Donut, Pharsalus. There's Pompey and Caesar on there. So as you can see, quite a bit of Actiums. I mean, all the greatest hits are in here, right? This is all about the greatest hits. And we actually get up, all the way. There's Constantinople. I saw a peek there. Here's Waterloo. Let's see what the decisive. Napoleon's defeat ended his remarkable career and began 4 decades of European peace. Okay, so they're saying that is, there's some people say that Waterloo was not that decisive and that he was doomed to fail anyway, but you never know. That's why they play. That's why they play the game. That's why they fight the battle. So we're going to get up. Here's Monroe Doctrine. Okay, as I said, some of these insets give you a little bit more context to look at. Looks like you got diagrams on most of these here. Oh, I had a bookmark here. What did I have? What was I? Antietam. All right, I was looking up on Antietam possibly here. So there's Antietam, or Sharpsburg. Sorry for the glare there. Get a little bit of a diagram there. So Antietam brought about the Emancipation Proclamation. So importance, the inability of the Confederate Army to gain a major victory in the North doomed their chances to gain foreign aid. Vital for their war effort, the Union's strategic victory gave President Lincoln the opportunity to introduce the Emancipation Proclamation. Okay, well, I'll go with that. I think that gives that some decisiveness there. I would think Saratoga should be in here. Let's see, this is here, Saratoga in here. Yes, 254. So we got that. Just a couple of random entries here. You can pick this book up and read till your heart's content, but I'm just looking at a few here. Importance. American victory maintained control of the vital Hudson River Valley and convinced France to recognize the United States and sign a mutual defense treaty. The flow of the French supplies virtually guaranteed American independence. So there you have it. So Saratoga and Antietam are kind of the converse, right? Winning Saratoga allowed the revolutionary America to obtain French support. Losing Antietam, kind of doomed the Confederates' chances of getting European or English support. So there you go. Tell the two cities. All right. There's Gettysburg. Let's see what the diagram of Gettysburg looks like. There we go. So anyway, I could spend all day on this right here because I find these interesting. You can just, there's Dunkirk. I find just opening up this book and just kind of perusing and learning about some of the battles. So I really like these kind of books. They're not too deep, but they give you a good taste and flavor of the conflict and some interesting insights. Right? Some insights into why it might have been important or how its outcome could have been different. That kind of goes back to some of the what if books that I did a long time ago when I first started doing my Coffee with Kilroys. I'll put a link to those as well. Anyway, thanks for stopping by. I'd love to know your thoughts on this book. or on books like this. This one, I have several of these. I might go through them one by one, but look at the 20 Decisive Battles, Coffee with Kilroy again. I talk about a lot that I have. This one actually goes in a little bit more detail and has more substance. Some of those are just lists, and they just give you the bare minimum of what those battles were about. I like this one to give a little bit more meat on the bones. Anyway, thank you all for stopping by, and take care. Thanks for watching.